My wife, Jen, we've known each other over 27 years now, or 28 years. We have 3 incredible kids, Connor, who's 11, Ronan, who's 8, and Finn, that's 5. Finn, the youngest, when I first started campaigning, I'd always come home with my name badge on, and I'd try to see him right before he'd go to bed, and he'd always ask if I won the election. So if it would just be that easy along those lines. When I was growing up, both my parents were extremely involved in the community and gave back to the community in so many different ways, and that had such a big positive influence on me. That's where I wanted to end up doing the same as I got older, and that's what I've done, and that's what I want to instill in my children as well. My father was a banker in a small town and reminded me of Gary Cooper and It's a Wonderful Life. Everybody knew him. He was always there to help everybody out, and that was just such a great role model to see both my parents doing that as a child growing up. I originally grew up in Geneva, New York, which is in the heart of the Finger Lakes. It was a fantastic place to grow up. I was the youngest of 4 boys. We grew up playing hockey and lacrosse and spent about every moment outside that we could end up spending. One year for Christmas, my dad had a backhoe come out and dig a rink in our backyard, and so one year for Christmas we had floodlights that were given to us, and we'd spend pretty much every moment outside that we could end up spending. I remember Mom turning the lights on and off, telling us to come in, and once your feet could thaw out and put them back in your skates, we'd go back out on the rink. My wife, Jen, and I actually met at college, at Hartwood College, back in 1989. Jen, after college, went and worked at Sloan Kettering Hospital in New York at the pediatric gynecology floor. After college, I applied to Capital Law School here in Columbus. That was back in 1990. Moved out here and immediately went to Capital and ended up staying out here for the last 24 years. At the Public Defender's Office, I practiced for 14 years, and then I left there in 2006, opened up my own office, Law Office of Thomas Hayes, where I've been doing that for the last 8.5 years. I decided to run for judge for Franklin County because I see the greater goal that I can end up doing on the bench. I love my role right now. I love my role as a defense attorney. It's a role that I've done over the last 21 years that I stand up for people even after they've given up on themselves, and I protect individuals' rights day in and day out in the court, and I fight down in the trenches to do that. I could have a bigger positive influence on the bench and touch more lives than I can in my role as a defense attorney now. A lot of attorneys will never even step foot in the courtroom, and that's one of the things that will set me apart from my opponent, is I'm in court more often than I am in my office. I'm in court pretty much every day, but maybe 2 or 3 days out of the month that I'm not in the courtroom. In common pleas courts, I've represented thousands and thousands of cases over the last 21 years. There is no learning curve for me to ascend to the bench doing what I've been doing over the last 21 years. 3 years ago, we had over 12,000 felony indictments in Franklin County. With the development of the drug court, we reduced that down in the last year, in a big part to the drug court, to around 8,000. So that's 4,000 cases that we were able to remove, not have a felony conviction on, and look at alternative treatments. And that's a huge resource, and that's a huge benefit to our community. Our campaign has been so proud. It's been wonderful to be endorsed by a number of organizations within Franklin County. These would include the Stonewall Democrats, the Columbus Building and Trade Councils, Ohio Civil Service Employees, the Columbus Firefighters Union Local 67, Franklin County Council of Education Associations, the Columbus chapter of the Coalition of Black Trade Unionists. I was rated highly recommended by the Columbus Bar Association Judicial Screening Committee. The Ohio Coalition of Concerned Black Citizens also rated our campaign highly recommended. And the Central Association for Justice as well rated our campaign highly recommended. I try to give back to the community in every way that I can, and we look at the whole ways we can do that. I mean, last year I coached 4 hockey teams, a soccer team, and a lacrosse team as well. I'm on the board at the Elvis House. Over the last couple of years, I've served on the executive committee. I've been on the board there for the last, I believe, 7 years. And one of the great things with this campaign is we've been reaching out to every aspect and every area of the community as well. And people want to know that you're connected, and we are connected to the community, and you have to be. And you have to be able to give back to the community for them to instill their trust in you.